Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Frontier, staring at the screen in front of him. The unknown ship floated in space like nothing he had ever seen before. It was smooth and curved, with a silver surface that seemed to glow in the starlight. After 20 years of space travel, Jake thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. "Sir, we're getting a signal from the alien ship," said Lieutenant Ben Cole from his station. The young security officer looked nervous. His hands moved quickly, over his control panel. "They're trying to talk to us." Dr. Lisa Park moved closer to the captain. She was the ship's scientist who studied alien life. Her eyes were bright with excitement. "This is it, Jake. This is what we've been looking for, first contact with a new species." Jake nodded slowly. He pressed a button on his chair. "Open a channel, Ben. Let's see what they want to say." The main screen changed. Static filled the air for a moment. Then a voice came through the speakers. It spoke perfect English with no accent at all. "Greetings, human vessel. We are the Velthari. We come in peace. We wish to speak with your leaders." The bridge went silent. Everyone stared at the screen. Jake felt his heart beating fast. He had practiced this moment in his head many times, but hearing alien voices speak his language perfectly was still a shock. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship New Frontier," he said into his microphone. "We also come in peace. How do you know our language?" There was a pause. Then the alien voice replied, "We have been listening to your radio signals for many years. We learned your words from your broadcasts. We have been waiting for the right time to make contact." Dr. Park grabbed Jake's arm. "They've been watching us," she whispered, "studying us. This is incredible." Jake nodded but stayed focused on the aliens. "We are honored to meet you. What do you wish to discuss?" "We would like to meet face to face," the alien voice said. "Would you allow a small group of our people to visit your ship? We promise we mean no harm." Jake looked around the bridge. Ben Cole shook his head slightly. He was always careful about security, but Dr. Park nodded eagerly. She wanted to study these aliens up close. "Give us a moment to discuss this," Jake said to the aliens. He muted the channel and turned to his crew. "Sir, this could be dangerous," Ben said. "We don't know anything about these aliens. They could be hostile." "But think about what we could learn," Dr. Park said. "This is the chance of a lifetime. We have to take it." Jake thought for a moment. His job was to keep his crew safe, but it was also to explore and learn about new worlds and new life. "We'll do it," he decided. "But we take every precaution. Full security measures." He opened the channel again. "We agree to your request. You may send a small group to our ship. How many of your people would like to visit?" "3 of us will come," the alien replied. "We will arrive in 1 of your hours. Thank you for this opportunity." The channel closed. Jake felt a mixture of excitement and worry. In 1 hour, they would meet aliens for the first time in human history. The next hour passed slowly. Dr. Park prepared her equipment to study the aliens. She set up cameras and scanners in the meeting room. Ben Cole stationed security guards around the ship. He checked all the weapon systems twice. Jake changed into his best uniform. He wanted to make a good impression. He practiced what he would say to the aliens. His hands were sweating. Finally, the moment came. The alien ship sent out a small craft that docked with the New Frontier. Jake, Dr. Park, and Ben Cole waited in the docking bay. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. 3 figures stepped through the doorway. Jake's breath caught in his throat. The aliens were tall and thin, about 7 feet high. Their skin was pale blue and seemed to glow softly. Their faces were narrow with large, dark eyes. They wore simple white robes that covered most of their bodies. But what caught Jake's attention immediately was the large bulge in the middle of each alien's body. It stuck out from their robes like they were carrying something under their clothes. The bulge was about the size of a basketball and seemed to move slightly as they walked. "Greetings," said the alien in the center. "I am Commander Zixthara. These are my companions, Sub-Commander Krelnox and Science Officer Velnara." Jake tried to look at the alien's face, but his eyes kept moving down to the strange bulge. He forced himself to look up. "Welcome aboard the New Frontier. I am Captain Jake Morrison. This is Dr. Lisa Park and Lieutenant Ben Cole." Dr. Park was also staring at the bulges. She tried to hide it by looking at her scanner, but Jake could see her stealing glances. Ben Cole was doing the same thing, his eyes moving from the aliens' faces to their bodies. Commander Zixathera seemed to notice their staring. The aliens' large eyes looked puzzled. "Is something wrong?" the commander asked. "No, nothing wrong," Jake said quickly. "We are just amazed to meet you. This is very exciting for us." But he could feel himself looking at the bulge again. He couldn't help it. What was it? Some kind of weapon? A body part? Equipment? The other aliens were also looking uncomfortable. They whispered to each other in their own language. The sounds were soft and musical, but Jake could tell they were concerned about something. "Perhaps we should move to a more comfortable place to talk," Jake suggested. He led the group toward the meeting room, trying not to stare at the aliens' strange bodies. As they walked, Jake noticed that his crew members in the hallway were also staring. Everyone who saw the aliens had the same reaction. Their eyes went straight to the bulges. The aliens walked with grace, but Jake could see they were getting more uncomfortable with each step. This was not how he had imagined first contact would go. The meeting room on the New Frontier had a long table in the center. Jake had ordered his best food to be prepared for the aliens. He wanted everything to be perfect for this historic moment. The room was filled with the smell of fresh bread and cooked meat. Commander Zixathera and the other aliens sat on one side of the table. Jake, Dr. Park, and Ben Cole sat across from them. Dr. Amy Chen, the ship's expert on cultures, joined them. She had studied many different human societies and knew how to handle meetings with new people. "We have prepared food for you," Jake said to the aliens. "We hope you will enjoy it." Commander Zixathera looked at the food with interest. "Thank you for your kindness. We also brought gifts for you." The alien reached into a pocket and pulled out small glowing crystals. "These are memory stones from our home world. They hold the history of our people." Dr. Park leaned forward to get a better look. As she did, her eyes moved to the alien's bulge again. It was even more obvious now that they were sitting down. The bulge pressed against the table edge. Jake noticed Dr. Park staring and tried to distract everyone. "These crystals are beautiful. How do they work?" But as Commander Zixathera began to explain, Jake found his own eyes moving down to the alien's body. The bulge seemed to pulse slightly, like something was alive inside it. He forced himself to look at the alien's face, but within seconds his gaze drifted down again. Sub-Commander Krelnox was talking to Dr. Chen about human culture. But Jake saw that Dr. Chen was also having trouble keeping her eyes on the alien's face. She kept glancing at Krelnox's bulge, then looking away quickly. Even Ben Cole, who was usually very professional, was staring. He tried to hide it by taking notes, but Jake could see his pen wasn't moving on the paper. The aliens began to notice the problem. Commander Zixathera stopped talking mid-sentence and looked around the table. All three aliens whispered to each other in their musical language. Their voices sounded worried. Science Officer Velnara spoke for the first time. "Are we making you uncomfortable in some way? You all seem distracted." "No, not at all," Jake said quickly. "We are very happy to have you here. Please continue telling us about your people." But the damage was done. The aliens had noticed the staring. Commander Zixathera's large eyes looked hurt and confused. The alien tried to continue the conversation, but the mood in the room had changed. As they ate, the humans kept trying not to stare, but they couldn't help themselves. The bulges were so unusual and obvious. Every time one of the aliens moved, the bulge shifted too. It was like trying not to look at a bright light in a dark room. Dr. Park attempted to be scientific about it. "Your physical forms are very interesting," she said carefully. "We humans don't have structures like yours. We're curious about how your bodies work." This made things worse. The aliens looked at each other with what seemed like alarm. Sub-Commander Krelnox's voice became cooler when he spoke. You find our bodies strange? Not strange, Dr. Chen said quickly. Different. We're just not used to seeing. That is, we don't have. She stopped talking, realizing she was making things worse. Commander Zixthera set down the piece of bread he was holding. The alien's voice became formal and distant. Perhaps we should discuss the reason for our meeting. We came here to talk about trade and friendship between our peoples. But Jake could see that the alien was upset. The commander's body language had changed. The alien sat straighter and kept his arms crossed over his chest, almost like he was trying to hide the bulge. Yes, let's talk about that, Jake said. But even as he spoke, his eyes moved down again. The bulge was impossible to ignore. It was, right there, taking up so much space that it affected how the alien sat and moved. The conversation continued, but it felt forced now. The aliens gave short answers to questions. They no longer seemed interested in learning about human culture. The friendly tone from earlier was gone. After an hour of awkward conversation, Commander Zixthera stood up. The movement made his bulge more obvious than ever. Jake, Dr. Park, Ben Cole, and Dr. Chen all looked at it at the same time. Commander Zixthera saw them staring. The alien's large eyes grew wide. His voice became sharp and direct. I must ask you a question, the commander said. Does the bulge between my legs fascinate you, human? Is that why you're acting strange? The room went completely silent. Jake felt his face turn red. He had been caught staring and he knew it. All of his crew looked embarrassed and guilty. We didn't mean to be rude, Jake said. We're just not used to seeing... Seeing what? Commander Zixthera demanded. Are you disgusted by our bodies? Do you think we are monsters? No, Dr. Park said quickly. We don't think you're monsters at all. We think you're amazing. We've just never seen anything like that before. Sub-Commander Krelnock stood up too. His voice was angry. On our world, it is very rude to stare at someone's body. Are humans a primitive people who cannot control themselves? Jake felt terrible. This was supposed to be a historic meeting between two species. Instead, it was turning into a disaster because they couldn't stop staring at the aliens' bodies. Please, Jake said, let us explain. We don't mean to be rude. We're just curious. We want to understand. Understand what? Science Officer Velnara asked. She seemed more confused than angry. What is there to understand? It is just our body. Do you stare at each other's bodies like this? Dr. Chen tried to help. No, we don't usually stare at other humans. But you're the first aliens we've ever met. Everything about you is new to us. We're sorry if we were rude. Commander Zixthera looked around the table at all the humans. You are all still doing it, he said. Even now, as we talk about it, you look at our bodies instead of our faces. Jake realized the alien was right. Even while they were talking about the problem, he kept glancing at the bulges. It was like his eyes were drawn to them automatically. We need to stop this meeting, Commander Zixthera said. We will return to our ship and discuss what we have learned about humans. Perhaps we made a mistake in trying to make contact with your species. The aliens began walking toward the door. Jake felt panic rising in his chest. This was humanity's first contact with aliens, and he was ruining it because he couldn't stop staring. Wait, Jake called out. Please don't leave. Give us another chance. We can fix this. Commander Zixthera stopped at the door and turned around. How can you fix the fact that you cannot look at us without staring at our bodies? How can we trust a species that acts this way? Jake didn't have an answer. He watched as the aliens left the room, their bulges swaying as they walked. Even in this moment of failure, he couldn't help but notice them. The humans sat in silence after the aliens were gone. They all felt ashamed and confused. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. Jake sat in his captain's chair, staring at the alien ship on the main screen. 2 hours had passed since the Velthari left his ship. He felt like he had failed humanity's first chance to make alien friends. Sir, Ben Cole said from his station, the alien ship is still here, they haven't left. Maybe they're giving us another chance, Dr. Park said hopefully. She looked as worried as Jake felt. Dr. Chen was reading through files on her computer. "I've been thinking about what happened," she said. "I think I understand the problem." Jake turned to look at her. "What do you mean?" "The aliens think we were being rude by staring," Dr. Chen explained. "But we weren't trying to be rude. We were just curious. Different species might have different ideas about what's polite and what's not." Engineer Tony Walsh entered the bridge. He was a simple man who always spoke his mind. "Captain, I heard about the meeting. Did the aliens really have big bulges on their bodies?" "Tony," Jake said with a warning tone, "we're trying to fix this situation." "I'm just saying," Tony continued, "if I saw someone with something that unusual on their body, I'd stare too. It's normal to be curious about things we've never seen before." Dr. Park nodded. "Tony's right. When humans see something new and interesting, we naturally want to look at it. It's how we learn." Jake thought about this. "So you think the aliens don't understand that we were just curious?" "Exactly," Dr. Chen said. "They think we were being rude or hostile, but we were just being human." Jake made a decision. "Open a channel to the alien ship. I want to talk to Commander Zixathera." The screen changed and the alien commander appeared. He still looked upset. "What do you want, Captain Morrison?" "I want to apologize," Jake said. "And I want to explain why we acted the way we did. Will you give us another chance?" Commander Zixathera was quiet for a moment. "Very well. But this time, you must control your behavior." "Actually," Jake said, "I think the problem is that we need to talk about our behavior. We need to understand each other better. Would you and your people come back to our ship? I promise this time will be different." An hour later, the aliens were back in the meeting room. This time, Jake had brought Tony Walsh with him. He thought the engineer's simple way of talking might help explain things. "Commander Zixathera," Jake began, "we want to explain why we were staring at you. It wasn't meant to be rude." "Then why did you do it?" the commander asked. Dr. Park leaned forward. "Because we've never seen anything like your body shape before. Humans don't have bulges like yours. We were curious about how they work and what they're for." "You were curious about our bodies?" Subcommander Krelnox asked. He sounded surprised. "Yes," Tony said simply. "When humans see something new, we want to understand it. It's like seeing a new kind of machine. We want to know how it works." Science Officer Velnara tilted her head. "You compare our bodies to machines?" "Not in a bad way," Tony explained. "I mean that when I see a new tool or engine, I want to know what it does. Your bodies are different from ours, so we wanted to know what makes them different." Commander Zixathara looked confused. "But staring at someone's body is very rude on our world. It means you think they are strange or wrong. On our world, it's different," Dr. Chen said. "When we're curious about something, we look at it, we study it. It means we find it interesting, not wrong." "So when you stared at our nutrient pouches," Commander Zixathera said slowly, "you were not being hostile?" Jake's eyes went wide. "Nutrient pouches? Is that what those bulges are?" "Of course," Subcommander Krelnox said. "What did you think they were?" Dr. Park got excited. "Can you tell us how they work? This is amazing. You have built-in food storage." Commander Zixathera looked at the other aliens. They seemed as confused as the humans had been earlier. "You really don't know what nutrient pouches are? Humans don't have them," Jake explained. "We store food outside our bodies in containers and storage rooms. We've never seen a species that can store food inside their bodies." "How do you survive long journeys without food?" Velnara asked. "We bring lots of food with us," Tony said. "Our ships have big storage areas full of food containers." The aliens looked amazed. "You carry food separately from your bodies?" "Commander," Zixathera asked. "Yes," Dr. Park said. "Our bodies can't store much food. When we're hungry, we have to eat right away or we get weak." "That seems very inefficient," Krelnox said. "Maybe," Jake said, "but it's how humans work. Just like your nutrient pouches are how your people work. We were staring because we thought your adaptation was impressive." Commander Zixathera's attitude began to change. "You found our nutrient pouches impressive?" "Very impressive," Dr. Park said. Being able to store food in your body for long trips is an amazing evolutionary solution. We wish humans could do that. But how do you handle emergencies? Velnara asked. What if you run out of food? We have to find more food or we die, Jake said simply. That's one reason why we explore space. We're always looking for new sources of food and water. The aliens looked at each other with what seemed like respect. Your species travels through dangerous space without being able to store food in your bodies? Commander Zixthera asked. Yes, Tony said. It's risky, but it's the only way we can do it. That is very brave, Krelnox said. We would not attempt long journeys without our nutrient pouches. Dr. Park was taking notes quickly. How long can you survive using just the food in your pouches? About 30 of your days, Velnara answered. The pouches expand to hold more food when we need them to. That explains why they seemed to move. When you walked, Jake said. The food shifts around inside them. Yes, Commander Zixthera said. Does that seem strange to you? Not strange, Jake said. Useful. We were impressed by how well your bodies are designed for space travel. The mood in the room had completely changed. The aliens no longer looked upset. Instead, they seemed curious about how humans managed to survive without nutrient pouches. So when you stared at us, Commander Zixthera said, you were thinking that our bodies were well designed? Exactly, Dr. Chen said. We were admiring your evolutionary adaptations. Commander Zixthera was quiet for a moment. Then he began to laugh. The sound was musical and light. We thought you were disgusted by us. Instead, you were impressed by us. Very impressed, Jake said. We're sorry we made you feel uncomfortable. We should have asked about your pouches instead of just staring. And we should have asked why you were staring instead of assuming you meant harm, the commander replied. Tony grinned. So we're both just bad at talking to each other? It seems that way, Krelnox said, and Jake was surprised to see the alien smile. The tension in the room was gone. For the first time since the aliens had arrived, everyone looked relaxed and happy. Now I have a question, Velnara said. How do human bodies work without nutrient pouches? What makes you able to survive? Doctor? Park smiled. Well, that's a long story, but we have some interesting adaptations too. The meeting room felt completely different now. The humans and aliens were laughing together and asking questions freely. Jake couldn't believe how much the mood had changed in just 1 hour. So humans really can't store food in their bodies? Science Officer Velnara asked. She seemed fascinated by this idea. Not like you can, Dr. Park explained. But we have other ways to survive. Human bodies are very good at using energy efficiently. We can keep going for a long time on very little food. Dr. Kevin Ross, the ship's medical officer, had joined the meeting. He was excited to share what he knew about human biology. Humans are also very good at healing from injuries. Our bodies can repair themselves quickly. Commander Zixthera leaned forward with interest. How quickly? A small cut on human skin heals in a few days, Dr. Ross said. Broken bones heal in weeks or months. Some humans have survived injuries that would kill other animals. That is remarkable, Subcommander Krelnox said. Our bodies take much longer to heal, but we rarely get injured because we are more careful. Tony Walsh laughed. Humans are not very careful. We do dangerous things all the time. That's probably why we got good at healing. Velnara's large eyes grew even wider. You do dangerous things on purpose? Sometimes, Jake admitted. Humans like to explore and try new things even if they might be risky, like traveling through space to meet unknown aliens, Dr. Chen added with a smile. Commander Zixthera thought about this. That does seem very dangerous. When we first detected your ship, we spent months studying it before deciding to make contact. We decided to meet you in about 10 minutes, Jake said. The aliens looked shocked. 10 minutes? Krelnox repeated. How could you make such an important decision so quickly? Humans are good at making fast decisions, Dr. Park said. Sometimes we're wrong, but usually we figure things out as we go. This explains much about your behavior, Commander Zixthera said. You saw something new about our bodies and immediately tried to understand it by looking at it. Exactly, Jake said. We probably should have asked you directly, but humans often learn by observing first. Velnara was taking notes on a device that looked like a glowing tablet. Your species sounds very adaptable. You make quick decisions, heal from injuries, and can survive without food storage. How did you evolve these abilities? Dr. Ross looked excited to answer. Human ancestors lived in a dangerous world. They had to deal with wild animals, changing weather, and limited food. Only the humans who could adapt quickly survived. Our world was different, Krelnox explained. It had long seasons where food was scarce. Velthari who could store food in their bodies survived the hard times. So your species learned to plan ahead, and our species learned to adapt quickly, Dr. Chen said. Both are good ways to survive. Commander Zixthera nodded. This is why the Velthari are good at building technology and planning long space journeys. We think carefully about every detail, and humans are good at exploring unknown places and solving unexpected problems, Jake added. Tony grinned. We could probably help each other. Your people are good at planning, and we're good at dealing with surprises. That is an interesting idea, the commander said. Perhaps our species could work together. The conversation continued for hours. The humans learned that Velthari lived for much longer than humans, sometimes over 200 years. Their nutrient pouches allowed them to hibernate during long space flights. They were very good at mathematics and engineering. The aliens learned that humans had strong emotions that helped them make quick decisions. Human bodies were designed for endurance. They could run long distances, work for many hours, and survive in many different environments. I have another question, Velnara said. Human faces change a lot when you talk. Your eyes get bigger. Your mouths move in different ways. What does this mean? Dr. Chen smiled, and her face demonstrated exactly what the alien was talking about. Those are called expressions. They show our emotions. When humans are happy, we smile. When we're surprised, our eyes get big. We notice this, Krelnox said. Your faces have been changing throughout our conversation. At first, your expressions looked worried. Now they look pleasant. That's right, Jake said. Human faces show how we feel. It helps us understand each other. Velthari faces do not change like this, Commander Zixithera said. We show emotion through our voices and body movements. So when you whispered to each other earlier, you were showing that you were worried? Dr. Park asked. Yes, the commander said. And when we stood up quickly, it showed we were upset. We understand each other better now, Jake said. Your people show feelings through voices and movement. Our people show feelings through faces and voices. As they talked, Jake noticed something interesting. He was no longer distracted by the aliens' nutrient pouches. Now that he understood what they were, they seemed normal. They were just part of how Velthari bodies worked. Dr. Park had noticed the same thing. Commander, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but your nutrient pouches don't seem strange to us anymore. Now that we know what they do, they make perfect sense. That is good, the commander said. And your faces no longer seem confusing. To us. We understand that you are showing emotions, not making threats. Were you worried that our expressions were threats? Dr. Chen asked. At first, yes, Krelnox admitted. When human faces change quickly, we thought you might be preparing to attack. On our world, sudden movements often mean danger. Tony laughed. And we thought your pouches might be weapons or something dangerous. We were all scared of each other, for no reason. Fear of the unknown is natural, Commander Zixithera said wisely. But knowledge removes fear. Jake felt proud of how well the meeting was going now. I think our species have a lot to learn from each other. I agree, the commander said. Hika, perhaps we could arrange for more meetings. Some of our scientists would be very interested in studying human adaptability. And our scientists would love to learn about your technology and planning methods, Dr. Park said eagerly. Velnara looked excited. Could some humans visit our ship? We could show you how our nutrient pouches work and how we plan our journeys. That would be amazing, Jake said. And you could see more of our ship and learn about human exploration methods. The aliens looked at each other and seemed to have a silent conversation through small movements and sounds. Finally, Commander Zixthara spoke. "We would like to propose something," he said. "What if some of our people joined your crew for a while, and some of your people joined our crew? We could learn about each other while we travel." Jake's heart beat faster with excitement. "You mean humans and Velthari working together on the same ships?" "Yes," the commander said. "Your people could teach us about quick decision-making and adapting to surprises. Our people could teach you about long-term planning and efficient resource use." "Combined crews," Dr. Park said in wonder. "Human and alien crew members working side by side. This could be the beginning of a real partnership." Jake looked around the table at his crew and the aliens. Everyone looked excited about the idea. What had started as a disaster was turning into something amazing. "I think this could work," Jake said. "But we'll need to plan it carefully." Commander Zixthara made a sound that might have been laughter. "Planning carefully is something Velthari do very well. And adapting when the plan doesn't work is something humans do very well," Jake replied with a grin. The future suddenly looked very bright for both species. 3 months had passed since the first meeting between humans and Velthari. Jake stood on the bridge of the new frontier, but now he was not alone. Science Officer Velnara worked at a station next to Dr. Park. The alien had become part of his crew. "Captain," Velnara said, "I have finished analyzing the data from the mineral planet we discovered last week. The Velthari planning methods helped us find 12% more valuable materials than your original scan detected." Jake smiled. "Excellent work, Velnara. Your people's careful analysis methods are very useful." On the main screen, Jake could see the Velthari ship traveling alongside them. Dr. Ross and engineer Tony Walsh were aboard that ship, learning about alien medical techniques and technology. The exchange program was working better than anyone had hoped. "Sir," Ben Cole called from his station, "we're getting a message from Admiral Susan Hayes. She wants a full report on the human-Velthari partnership." Jake nodded. "Put her through." "Admiral." Hayes appeared on the screen. She was the leader of the human space fleet, and she looked very interested. "Captain Morrison, I've been reading your reports. This partnership with the aliens seems to be going well." "Very well, Admiral," Jake replied. "The Velthari planning methods have helped us explore more efficiently, and our adaptability has helped them deal with unexpected problems they encounter." "Give me some examples," the Admiral said. Dr. Park stepped forward. "Admiral, last month we encountered a space storm that our computers said would last 3 days. Using human quick thinking, we found a way around it in 6 hours. But the Velthari planning methods helped us map the safest route," Velnara added. "And when our food supplies ran low due to a calculation error, human problem-solving helped us find edible plants on a nearby planet. Velthari food storage knowledge helped us preserve the plants for future use." Admiral Hayes looked impressed. "So you're combining human adaptability with alien planning?" "Exactly," Jake said. "We're stronger together than either species was alone." The screen switched to show another person. It was High Counselor Thex Mandor, the leader of the Velthari government. His nutrient pouch was larger than the others Jake had met, showing his advanced age and wisdom. "Greetings, Captain Morrison," the Velthari leader said. "I have been following the reports from Commander Zixthara. This partnership has exceeded all of our expectations." "We're honored to work with your people, High Counselor," Jake replied. "The question now," Admiral Hayes said, "is what we do next. Both governments want to expand this program." High Counselor Thex Mandor spoke carefully. "We propose creating permanent mixed crews, ships with both humans and Velthari working together. We could explore parts of space that neither species could handle alone." Jake felt his heart beat faster. Permanent mixed crews? That would be amazing. "There would be challenges," Admiral Hayes said. "Different foods, different sleeping schedules, different ways of making decisions." Velnara looked excited. "But we have already solved many of these problems. Humans eat smaller meals more often. Velthari eat larger meals less often. We have found a schedule that works for both. And we've learned to combine quick human decisions with careful Velthari planning. Dr. Park added. For small problems, humans decide quickly. For big problems, we take time to plan like the Velthari do. Commander Zixathara's voice came through. The communication system. He was still on his ship working with the human crew members there. High Counselor, the humans, Dr. Ross and Engineer Walsh have taught us much about medical emergency response. Their quick-thinking methods have already saved lives on our ship. How so? The High Counselor asked. 2 weeks ago, one of our crew members was injured in an accident, the commander explained. Velthari medical procedures require careful analysis before treatment, but Dr. Ross used human emergency methods to save the crew member's life immediately. Then we used Velthari methods to complete the healing. Admiral Hayes nodded approvingly. It sounds like both species are learning valuable skills. Jake looked at Velnara, who had become like a sister to his crew. High Counselor Admiral, I think we should do more than just create mixed crews. I think we should create a new kind of space exploration program. One where humans and Velthari work together to explore places neither could go alone. What do you mean? Admiral Hayes asked. Dr. Park stepped forward. Admiral, we've discovered that human adaptability and Velthari planning complement each other perfectly. Humans can handle surprises and emergencies. Velthari can prepare for long journeys and complex problems. Together, we could explore dangerous regions of space, Velnara added. Places with unpredictable hazards that require both quick thinking and careful preparation. High Counselor Thexmandor was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. This partnership has taught us something important. We thought Velthari methods were the only correct way to explore space. We now see that there are many correct ways. And we thought human methods were the best, Admiral Hayes said. But combining them with Velthari methods makes them even better. Jake had an idea. What if we created a new type of ship, one designed from the beginning for both humans and Velthari? It could have the best of both species' technology. Commander Zixathara's voice came through again. Captain Morrison, that is an excellent idea. Velthari engineering combined with human innovation could create ships better than either species has built before. Engineer Tony Walsh's voice joined the conversation from the alien ship. I've been studying Velthari technology for 3 months now. Their energy systems are incredible. Combined with human adaptability systems, we could build ships that could handle any situation. Admiral Hayes and High Counselor Thexmandor looked at each other through the screen. Jake could see they were both thinking hard about this proposal. This would be a major undertaking, the Admiral said. Building new ships, training mixed crews, exploring dangerous regions of space. But the benefits could be enormous, the High Counselor replied. New technologies, new discoveries, new worlds for both species. Jake felt the excitement building in the room. We could call it the Joint Exploration Initiative. Human and Velthari, crews working together to push the boundaries of known space. Dr. Park was practically bouncing with excitement. Think of what we could discover. New forms of life, new planets, new technologies. Velnara nodded enthusiastically. And both species would learn from every discovery. Knowledge shared is knowledge doubled. Admiral Hayes made her decision. I'm authorizing the development of this program. Captain Morrison, you'll lead the human side of the project. High Counselor Thexmandor agreed. Commander Zixathara will lead the Velthari side. You will work together to design the first joint exploration ships and train the first mixed crews. Jake felt a mixture of pride and excitement. What had started with an embarrassing misunderstanding about alien body parts had grown into something that could change the future for both species. There's one more thing, Jake said. I think we should remember how this all started. We almost ruined first contact because we didn't understand each other. But by talking honestly about our differences, we found our strengths. Commander Zixathara's voice carried warmth and humor. Yes, Captain. We should create a protocol for future first contact situations. The Ask Don't Stare protocol. Everyone laughed at this. Jake realized that the Velthari had learned human humor, while humans had learned Velthari wisdom. The first rule of meeting new species, Dr. Chen said, should be to ask questions instead of making assumptions. And the second rule, Velnara added, should be to remember that different doesn't mean wrong. Admiral Hayes smiled. Those are good rules for exploration in general, Captain Morrison. I'm looking forward to seeing what humans and Velthari can accomplish together. As the communication ended, Jake looked around his bridge. Human and alien crew members worked side by side, each contributing their unique skills to the mission. The nutrient pouches that had once seemed so strange now seemed as normal as any other part of his crew. Jake realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their courage. It was their ability to learn from others and find ways to work together. The Velthari had taught them the value of careful planning, while humans had shown the aliens the power of quick adaptation. Together, they would explore the stars and discover wonders neither species could have found alone. The future looked brighter than ever before.